Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the November 3rd edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Kirsten Garrison, and I'll tell you what the university is doing to make sure student athletes aren't crossing the line in their relationships with former players.
We'll tell you what the sweeping Republican victories mean for Orange County residents.
In sports, UNC gets ready for a tough game in Tallahassee, and one Tar Heel is already the talk of the town.
Weathercaster Drew Day will tell us how long we can expect these gloomy skies to stick around.
All that, and from saving cats to fighting censorship, we'll show you the interesting life of one local artist.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Well, the votes are in, and there are big changes on the way both in Washington and Raleigh. Good evening, I'm Claudia Rupsich.
And I'm Andrea Luchka. Thanks for joining us. Some familiar faces won't be returning to Washington after a Republican wave crashed across the country, leaving Democratic incumbents in its wake.
As we said, David Price will be keeping a seat in Congress, unlike many of his Democratic colleagues. And his race against B.J. Lawson was much closer and much more controversial, too. Jennifer Kessinger has a story and political ad that we will show you later in the show. Despite the loss, Tuesday's results are still As many expected, Democratic David Price will return to the House after beating Republican challenger B.J. Lawson. Price received 57% of the vote, with Lawson getting just 43%. Despite the loss, Tuesday's results are still an improvement for Lawson. In 2008, when he ran against Price for the same District 4 seat, Lawson received only 36% of the vote. We'll have more on the Price-Lawson race in just a moment. Another incumbent will be back in the Senate. Republican Richard Burr won a re-election to his seat, defeating North Carolina's Democratic Secretary of State Elaine Marshall. Burr got 55% of the vote to Marshall's 42%. At the local level, 75-year-old Lindy Pendergrass, the oldest and longest-serving sheriff in North Carolina, won another 4-year term after sweeping the election Tuesday against opponent Buddy Parker. Parker, who's been a police officer for 16 years, only got 21% of the vote. One surprise from Tuesday may be Orange County voters' rejection to a quarter-cent increase to the sales tax. That increase was expected to bring in at least $2.3 million a year, but the voters said no. It all came down to less than 1,000 votes. The sales tax hike was intended to help fund school improvements and economic development. And as we said, David Price will be keeping his seat in Congress, unlike a lot of his Democratic colleagues. And his race against B.J. Lawson was much closer and much controversial, too. Jennifer Kessinger has a story of a political ad, a famous actor's voice, and a challenger's apology.
B.J. Lawson, I approve this message.
On the eve of the midterm elections, a political ad brought national attention to B.J. Lawson, but not the kind of attention he wanted. The ad features a voice that might be familiar to voters.
That's why he's spending $250,000 to attack B.J. Lawson instead of running on his record.
The narrator sounds like actor Morgan Freeman, but Freeman says he didn't provide the voice for the ad that attacks Democratic candidate David Price. On Monday, the Lawson campaign issued a statement on its official website saying, "This is obviously not something we would ever want to misrepresent. Once we found out that our contracted advertisement was not narrated by Morgan Freeman, we immediately pulled the ads." In an earlier interview, Price said he was offended by Lawson's attack ads.
So yes, I take issue with the tone and the content of the attack ads that he's run really for months and months against me.
But he also acknowledged Lawson's right to publish them.
You know, it's his privilege to run what he wants to, and we're going to make sure that people know what the facts are.
Lawson lost to Price in Tuesday's election, but despite this recent negative attention, he says he will run again in 2012. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jennifer Kessinger, Carolina Week.
It's that time of year again, time for students to pull out the undergraduate bulletin and register for classes, this time for spring 2011. Even though registration days are determined by the number of terms a student has completed, individual appointment times are selected randomly by Connect Carolina. Registration opens for most juniors tomorrow, and as you can see on your screen, more undergraduate appointment dates are scheduled throughout the month of November. Online appointments run from 8 in the morning to 3:45 in the afternoon.
And you can ask any grad. Historic Playmakers Theater is a landmark here on the Hill. But not lately. It's been closed for the last 4 years. And that's all changed now, though. The theater is finally back in the spotlight. Students fill Playmakers Theater to hear students' poets perform original works. The poems covered issues like violence and personal rights. Def Jam poet Shahan Van Cleef hosted the event and treated the crowd to several works of his own. The event was standing room only, and many students were turned away due to a lack of space.
As the NCAA investigation continues tonight into the football program, evidence suggests some players may have had ties with former players, ties that might have been improper and in violation of the rules. Reporter Kirsten Garris joins us live in the studio with more. Kirsten, what is the university doing?
Andrea, the university is working to make it very clear exactly what defines inappropriate and appropriate interactions between current and former student athletics. Chris Hawkins, former UNC football player and one of the main individuals involved with the NCAA investigation, makes one question how close former and current students can be. UNC Athletic Director Dick Bedore said interaction and mentorship between former and current student athletes is a positive. But when financial benefits are added to the relationship, the problems become obvious.
We've got to be sure that the lines are clear, drawn clearly, so that no one crosses over into providing preferential treatment to our student athletes.
Benefits like identifying oneself as a financial advisor and offering monetary gifts are a violation of the NCAA rules. Rules Hawkins violated. Bedore said there are some gray areas in the rules that athletics department officials have to clarify.
The thing that we need to do is simplify it all and say that relationships are fine, but the exchange of benefits, whether they even be construed as minimal or not, just need to be avoided.
FAC Chairman Steve Resnick said the athletics department might have to adjust some of its training programs to help student athletes handle these types of situations.
The training that we do as far as leadership and personal development, and we may need to boost that a little bit so that more of our students have more opportunity to put themselves in these virtual situations.
As the investigation continues, the FAC will focus on academics, but they'll also discuss former and current student athletic relationships in future meetings.
Kirsten, what else is the university doing to help student athletes with these types of situations?
Well, Andrea, the athletics department and even the faculty are reviewing all the current policies, and then the compliance office will suggest additional ways to monitor student interactions and keep them on the right track.
That's Kirsten Garris live in our studio. Thanks, Kristen. Coming up, we'll talk with Student Body President Hogan Medlin
and tell you what he and others are doing to reach out to those suffering from alcohol abuse.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
To you, this is a place to make macaroni and cheese. To someone else, it's a way to make a kid sorry for what he did. Preventing child abuse and neglect doesn't just mean reporting it. It means stopping it before it starts. Find out how at PreventChildAbuse.org or 1-800-CHILDREN. A child is helpless. You are not.
There's a place, not so far away, a place where you don't have to keep the volume down. You'll find all sorts of creatures in this place without have to. The silly you, the proud you. You may even meet the curious you.
It's tickling me! You!
Ask your parents to take you to this not so far away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. UNC scientists are buzzing about how a gene linked to alcoholism can also keep you from becoming an alcoholic, but it's on the luck of the draw. We all know that some people are genetically predisposed to becoming alcoholics, but did you know that the opposite may also be true? If you have the gene, there's a 10 to 20% chance that it will make you less likely to become an alcoholic rather than more likely. Scientists say the variant of the gene makes you overly sensitive and less likely to keep drinking.
Alcohol abuse is a problem on college campuses. Everybody knows that. But what's being done? Our Megan Cassell talked with UNC Student Body President Hogan Medlin, who says one big issue is students staying informed.
So Hogan, alcohol abuse is kind of a major issue on campus, as I'm sure it is with many other college campuses. What kind of support does student government give students who are abusing alcohol?
Well, there's a few different approaches to it, and this year we actually have something new that's going on. Nick Veronak is a senior in the Greek system. He has put together a really great training program that he has worked with the Dean of Students office and the various offices of the Student Affairs. And it's going to become mandatory that each new member of the Greek community partakes in this alcohol education program. It's not just prevention, but it's also what bystanders can do if they see alcohol abuse occurring at a party. So we think that it's a new approach to the issue that, like you said, all universities deal with. We're not unique to alcohol abuse, but we certainly are trying to take a unique approach in dealing with it, which I think is pretty admirable.
Do you all draw a line between alcohol abuse and actually alcoholism? Or is it all sort of the same issue?
I mean, we don't define them in student government. I don't think we're the ones who are to define them. I think our job is to simply provide the resources and try to, we're part of the education process. We also know that there's a stigma against you being the one at the party who says, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing that, or hey, you really shouldn't be drinking that much. So the actual program itself has some unique ways, unique tips of getting people to think more creatively about how to deal with these situations in parties in hopes that that stigma isn't there, but you're also sort of promoting the safety of your peers.
Is there a specific program for recovering alcoholics? Like if someone thought they were an alcoholic, or if someone was referred to a program, do we have a program like that on campus? Because it seems like that would be a tricky place to recover from alcoholism.
Well, resources here in Orange County are very much open to all students, and I think that counseling and wellness services partner with Orange County AA communities and route students through that. I'm not personally aware of a AA program within the university system. There are peers who work in counseling and wellness as peer counselors, I guess is probably the right word. And it's very confidential. You can go and talk to them, and that's sort of a resource that's provided by student fees in hopes that students will feel safe and comfortable in talking about alcoholism or alcohol abuse and getting more resources, I guess, to them.
While university funding might become more of an issue for Medlin and future student leaders after Tuesday's elections. On a national level, the Republican Party's A Pledge to America indicates the party may be less inclined to approve financial aid legislation. On the state level, officials question whether North Carolina's budget shortfall will make the now Republican-controlled NC General Assembly less inclined to fund higher education. This could mean more increases in student fees for services like dining and transportation.
No matter what happens with financial aid and overall state funding, beyond tuition, a major issue for students is university fees, and they seem to increase every year. What are these fees, and why do they keep going up? Reporter Alexandra Press has some answers.
On campus, students have to pay a lot of fees in addition to tuition, but do they know what these fees are for?
At South Building, Dwayne Pinkney addresses some of the fee details by first describing the fee-setting process.
The first step comes as a set of instructions that go to all of the units asking what proposals they might bring forward for the next cycle.
After Pinkney requests proposals, they're due in August. Then several committees have to approve the fees. Mary Covington was involved with the proposal process.
We get no state dollars, so that we are dependent, upon the students and for the student fee.
You have costs relating to inflation and the poor economy, which have both increased the cost of supplies and materials. And then there are additional costs of contracts with UNC Healthcare and other organizations, health insurance for employees, after-hours clinic, and educational programs. And the newest addition, mandatory health care for students.
We're not in the business to make a profit. We are here to serve students so that we can, provide quality services, at an affordable cost.
In addition to campus health, there are new fees regarding education and technology.
The fees are requested and approved to enhance the student experience.
That means students are essential for their own positive experiences here at Carolina In Chapel Hill, I'm Alexandra Press, Carolina Week.
Those are just some of the fees we have to pay. You can get more information through the Office of the Provost. Weathercaster Drew Day joins us live in the studio.
Drew, I finally had to go get out my winter jacket. Looks like the cold is here.
Yeah, Claudia and Andrea, it was a cold and cloudy day today, but some rain is moving in. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
Detalles sencillos tienen el mayor impacto. Por eso toma el tiempo y hoy sea un buen papá.
Un día en el bosque las ratas jugaban. Fósforos que no es muy bueno.
Escucha Smokey antes de tratar.
Solo tú. No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. Fuego. No hay nada para tu pobre conejo asustado. A un pobre ratón sin casa en que vivir. Si un hermoso bosque es lo que deseas, no juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego.
Solo tú puedes prevenir los fuegos forestales.
¡Fuego!
Hay un monstruo en mi tina. Hay uno en el sofá. Hay un monstruo en mi cama. Haz que se vayan los monstruos.
Aprende cómo ayudar a detener sus ataques de asma en noattacks.org.
All right, welcome back to Carolina Week, everybody. I'm Drew Day. Thanks so much for staying with us this evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at your weather headlines. We expect some showers tomorrow across the area. The rain is on the increase as well as the clouds. And so we expect throughout the day tomorrow to see some showers. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Also, we'll take a look at the winter outlook to see what temperatures and what kind of precipitation we can be seeing throughout the winter season. And also, later this weekend, we anticipate our first freeze as overnight temperatures will be dropping below freezing. We'll take a look at that in just a minute as well. Here's a look at the satellite across the area right now. You can see there is some thick cloud cover over North Carolina, and that is translating into some showers across the area. Here's a look at the radar imagery, and you can see right here over the Piedmont in central North Carolina, there are some showers across the area. And so you'll want to prepare as you head out this evening that you're going to want to take a rain jacket with you or an umbrella across the area, and also keep it handy with you tomorrow because we anticipate showers throughout the day tomorrow as well. As we take a look at the surface map, you can see right now there's nothing interesting directly over North Carolina, but just off to the west, you can see we have this trough right here, and that will be pushing into the area tomorrow, and that will be generating some showers for us over the area. You can see right here we will have, this is that trough right here, and then that will be reinforced by this cold front, and that will be pushing through the area tomorrow as well. And so tomorrow, all day long, we anticipate to see some showers across the area. Taking a quick look right now at the tropics, in case you're wondering what's going on down there, we do have Tropical Storm Tomas right here in the Caribbean, right here just south of Cuba and also Haiti. And here it is right here, and it will take a sharp northwesterly or northeasterly turn tomorrow. And once it does that, it will then go right between Cuba and Haiti and continue off to the northeast, and then it will eventually take more of an easterly track. So it will be heading away from the United States. So we don't anticipate this storm to affect us whatsoever. Taking a look at the temperature outlook right there, again, you can see tomorrow, or for this winter, climatologically, we define winter as being December, February, and January. And so we have a 33% chance that temperatures will be warmer this winter. And also taking a look at precipitation, you can see that we are expected to be drier this winter with about a 33% chance of being drier as well. And so this doesn't say how much warmer we will be by any degree. And so just be aware of that. For men's soccer tonight, or for Friday, again against Clemson, you can see it'll be a great game for that with temperatures in the lower 50s. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy skies and showers across the area with 46. And then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. Again, showers throughout the day at 54. And then for tomorrow afternoon, we'll hang in the 50s for the most of the evening. And as we head into the evening, temperatures will be in the 40s as well. And taking a look at the 5-day forecast here, you can see we'll remain in the 50s throughout the rest of the week. And then as we head into next week, we'll warm up into the 60s. But then look at that low Saturday night, our first hard freeze at 28 degrees.
Sounds pretty good for the beginning of November, Drew. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
UNC has announced a partnership with online ticket market StubHub, which will give Tar Heel fans a new way to exchange tickets. Carolina ticket holders will be able to list season tickets and individual game tickets on the website, giving fans an easy means of getting rid of unwanted tickets. The university hopes this will prevent scams and keep seats full. This is how it works. Sellers type in the ticket's barcode, and StubHub cancels those tickets. Buyers are then sent new tickets immediately. Athletic Director Dick Badur says UNC is using StubHub to provide our fans with safe, convenient access to great tickets leading right up to kickoff. Sportscaster Justin Page joins us.
Speaking of tickets for games, our basketball team is in action this weekend. Can you tell us about that?
Claudia, that's right. It may be an exhibition game, but Roy Williams and the team will be back in action Friday night at the Smith Center. And coming up after the break, he may be new to Chapel Hill, but one Tar Heel is already making history.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
So, April.
Yeah?
You know your charger's still using energy when it's plugged into the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Justin Page. The UNC football team has been struggling for the past couple of weeks, and unfortunately for the team, the season's not getting any easier. After barely escaping FCS William & Mary, the team will make its second trip of the season to Florida to take on number 24 Florida State. For 2 weeks, the Heels have looked sluggish, and worse, they've turned the ball over 5 times. And on top of that, injuries are decimating the depth of the secondary that's already thin due to the NCAA investigations. And its effects are obvious. The Heels have struggled to stop the pass, and that could be bad news because this week they'll face Florida State quarterback Christian Ponder, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And there you see the Heels' remaining schedule. This game is the start of a brutal stretch for the team. Starting this weekend, they'll face 3 ranked teams. Next weekend, they take on ACC favorite Virginia Tech, and then NC State, and finally Duke. Now, if the Heels want to become bowl eligible, they'll have to win at least one more game. Switching gears, basketball is finally back, and Friday night, the number 9 ranked Heels will take on the Barton Bulldogs in an exhibition game at the Smith Center. Fans will get their first chance to see the team compete, and junior Tyler Zeller makes his return, looking much bigger. There he is showing off his go-to hook at late night with Roy, and junior point guard Larry Drew is also back. Look for him at the top left of your screen, knocking down the jumper. Good stuff from him. Sophomore Dexter Strickland looks like he's improved his game. There he is on the fast break lane and in. And don't forget about the freshmen. Carolina welcomes 3 highly touted recruits, including guard Kendall Marshall, Reggie Bullock, there you see him, and of course, Harrison Barnes. Speaking of Harrison Barnes, the talented freshman recently received an incredible honor. Barnes, a 6'8" forward from Ames, Iowa, was voted onto the preseason All-America team, and it's the first time a freshman has ever received the honor. Barnes came to Carolina ranked as the top high school recruit in the country. He's a big man with power moves like the jam and also finesse around the perimeter. There you see the team right there. Joining Barnes on the preseason All-America team are Duke's Kyle Singler, Kansas State's Jacob Pullen, BYU's Jimmy Fredette, and Purdue's Juwan Johnson, all four of who, interestingly enough, are seniors. The women's soccer team is feeling good after winning its opening game of the ACC tournament in Cary this afternoon against Virginia Tech. The Heels jumped on the Hokies early in their first match of the tournament, already up 2-0. Check this out. Meg Morris takes the touch pass from Alyssa Rich to the top of the box, and watch her go. She puts it into the back of the net in the 50th minute. Heels up 3-0. Then in the 70th minute, check this out. Emily Fancook dribbles down the field, fights off a Hokie defender to score the Heels' fourth and final goal. They cruise to a 4-2 win and advance to the semifinals, where they'll play Wake Forest on Friday at 5 o'clock. And while the ladies seek to bring home yet another title, several other Carolina teams will be in action this weekend. Along with the ladies' game on Friday, the field hockey team also enters the first round of ACC tournament play in Winston-Salem. They'll play the winner of the Virginia-Duke match Friday at 6:30. And also, excuse me about that. And then right here in Chapel Hill, while those teams try to take titles down the road, there's also plenty of action going on right here in Chapel Hill. The men's soccer team plays its final game of the regular season against Clemson, and the stakes are high. If the Heels can either beat or tie the Tigers, they'll win their first outright regular season conference title in school history. Go Heels. And then the number 19 women's volleyball team will also serve it up against Duke on Saturday at 6 with Carlisle Cup points on the line. So it's certainly a very busy weekend here on Chapel Hill. Florida game down at Tallahassee. Get out and support your Tar Heels.
Definitely look forward to watching our football team play the Seminoles. I hope they can step it up and win.
Most definitely.
All right, thanks, Justin. Coming up, we'll show you one local woman's fight to help animals.
And why that's just one of the many reasons she's become a unique local figure.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Follow your passion. We hear that a lot, especially as graduation nears.
Our Alicia Moore introduces us to a Pittsboro area artist who is mixing her love for animals with her struggle for creative freedom.
Siglinda Scarpa is the owner and founder of the Goat House Refuge in Pittsboro. Despite its name, the refuge is mostly comprised of cats, about 160. Scarpa started the Goat House Refuge in 2007 so that kittens like Rome here could have a place to live while they wait for a family to adopt them. Scarpa says people losing interest in their pets caused her to start the refuge.
I'm so lonely, I need this little kitty. Then when the cat is 9, 10 years old, oh, it may cost me some money, you know. I better throw him in a shelter like a broken toy.
She loves animals, but she is most known as a talented artist, a skill she honed as a little girl in Italy.
I was under the table and getting little scraps of fabric, little scrap of paper, colored pencils, and I was always underneath there making something.
Scarpa's father served in the Italian army until Hitler and Mussolini aligned during World War II. He left the army and her family hid in the mountains to evade the German soldiers. They helped lots of other people flee as well.
My mother used to go across the Alps to get, in Switzerland, to get people out of Germany.
Scarpa traveled all over the world, but came to North Carolina in 1996 to find a place to call home. She recently worked on ceramic tiles for fireplaces in the Chatham County Library. The County Board of Commissioners asked her to cover 2 tiles containing the words sex and communism, and she wasn't happy.
It's just not right that you try to censor everything around you. It's just a fear. It's a terrible, fear can paralyze you.
Regardless of the verdict, Scarpa fearlessly brings her culture and flair for life to her artwork and her care for animals. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alicia Moore, Carolina Week.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.